Hi everyone, my name is Avinash, and in this video we are going to discuss about application migration service. So you might aware about cloud endure migration. If you haven't heard about cloud endure migration, please refer video available in my YouTube channel. So basically this cloud endure is a different organization. Later Amazon AWS acquired it for lift and shift migrations. So later that AWS introduced a service with a similar mechanism, mainly to perform lift and shift migrations. Okay, so in simple, I can say this is AWS version of Cloud Endure within AWS console, and it can integrate with the other AWS services also. And this, with the help of this MGN, so basically we call this as a MGN, not application migration, so, not a migration service. So MGN stands for migration, right? So you say this AWS migration, application migration service, but generally, as per AWS things, we should call it as a AMS, but no, we call it as a MGN, AWS MGN. Right. So now, in which scenario we're going to use this application migration service? So if you prefer to move one instance from one region to another region, this is the easiest service we can use. And also, if any of your operating system is not supported by this MGN service, however, you still have that cloud endure migration, or you can use server migration service also, SMS service. Right. So, if somehow, for any reason, if you don't want to install any agent in the base machine you want to migrate, so then this MGN service is not suitable for us. Why? Because whenever you're using this AWS MGN service, we need to install an agent. Basically, it's an agent-based migration. So we can migrate, then we can do the cutover. So then we can promote that new server. All right. So to explain this AWS MGN service or application migration service, I'm going to, I already have an EC2 instance here. So I already launched one in Mumbai region, and it is delivering a simple web page. All right. So this is what that EC2 instance is delivering. So I will migrate this EC2 instance from Mumbai region to Sydney region. All right. So first, again, the thing you need to do, where you want to migrate, you first need to switch to that specific region, so then navigate to application migration service. For example, I'm in Mumbai region. If I go to application migration service and if I'm trying to perform something, so this machine is going to migrate to Mumbai only, not to any other region. All right. So as I mentioned, I want to migrate it to Sydney region. So first, let me switch to Sydney region. So then I'm opening this application migration service. So if you haven't configured this application migration service yet, so then we need to do some basic configuration. You see this, install an agent, replicate to AWS, perform the test. If you satisfy with the test, and execute the cutover. So first click on get started. So then it will ask us to set up application migration service. All right, so basically it's going to create some roles, IAM roles. So just click on setup service. That's it. So it will take a minute or two to complete this setup. Once this setup is completed, all right, so there is a default templates created. So that templates are used whenever we are migrating. All right. So here you can see in left pane, source servers. Whatever server we want to migrate here, that server we need to add as a source. So in my case, this is my EC2 instance. I want to migrate. So just click on connect. I'm going to use EC2 connect, then click on connect. All right, I got connected here. So if you're not aware about how to launch an Linux EC2 instance and how to make it as a web server, so a couple of videos available in my YouTube channel. Please spare a minute and go through that video. So then click on add server as the first thing. Now it's asking us whether it is a Linux machine or Windows machine. The machine I want to migrate is a Linux machine that is running with Amazon Linux. So I'm selecting Linux here. Do you want to replicate all the data from the EC2 instance to here or any specific disk? So replicate all disk or choose which disk to replicate. So you can choose that option. I'm going to replicate all disk. However, I have only one root volume for this EC2 instance. We can verify under storage. You see, I have only one volume, that is 8 gigs GP2. I'm going to select replicate. So it will ask us to provide access key ID and secret access key to perform this activity. So it's just a one-click option. Earlier, we need to create an IAM user, we need to associate migration service, install agent policy manually, we need to provide that access key and secret access key. But this time it's going to be pretty simple. Click on create IAM user. This is going to be the name MGN agent installer. Click on go. So as I mentioned, it is picking a policy, AWS Application Migration Agent Installation Policy, create user. So it's picking only programmatic access. So grab that access key ID, provide that access key ID here, and whatever secret access key we got, just copy that secret access key, enter that key here. Right, if you want to verify, you click on show and it shows. And which VM or which instance we want to migrate it to this Sydney region. Okay, we first need to go to that specific region and we need to install this. So if you copy this, you can, let me take a simple text pad. So you see this, so this command we need to execute. All right, if you want to, you can change the region here. Okay, so my instance is in Mumbai region, so I'm going to give AP South-1. Let's see if it give any error. We will change the region again. So first I'm copying it. I got connected to the instance here. I'm going to paste that command here, then enter. All right, so there is an issue with that. Okay, so let's switch to the normal one. Oh, let me copy it and let me directly paste it. Copy it, paste that inside your EC2 instance. Click on enter. And there you see, if you gave ls, a little script got downloaded. So the beautiful thing is AWS only giving command to execute that script. Copy it, paste that here, then click on enter. All right, the installation of AWS Replication agent has started. So the agent installation is happening now, downloading the AWS Replication agent into this specific server. So then click on back. And once this agent installation is completed, whatever server we want to migrate to this Sydney region, that server is going to appear here. It won't take much time. So basically this service, right? It's a very time consuming process. So even whenever we are migrating, we have different stages, we need to migrate it, we need to test it, then we need to cut over it. So I'm going to pause this video multiple times. So then we are going to resume this video. So, but this one, the agent installation, it really don't take much time. it's happening. So if you give a refresh here, if that agent installation is completed, it should appear here. So meanwhile, we have an option called launch template. Whenever we create, it's going to give a launch templates here. So these launch templates will pick instance types based on the, our existing instance configuration and whatever the replication template you want to use to perform the replication. So basically, in between one of the EC2 instance is going to create that instance will take care about the migration things. You see, replication server instance type, it picked T3 small. So if you don't want to pay that, if you want to be under free tier limitation, if you want to go with only T2 micro, you do have an option to edit and you can select T2 micro here. So, but I want to make this process little faster. So that's the reason I'm selecting. So basically these properties, the subnet, the instant type, the EBS volume, the security group. So these are, okay. So basically whatever the intermediate instance. So that is property of that intermediate instance. All right. So is this completed? Seems not yet completed. It's still installing agent. Okay, let me download this for future use. However, I'm going to disable this right after the session. If I misplaced or if I need to redo this again, I'm going to use the same credentials. That's the reason I have downloaded it. All right, I thought to pause this video, but seems it is completed. So the agent installation is completed and that is now syncing with our migration console. You see, as that sync is completed here, syncing to source with application migration service console. So this VM we want to migrate. So we are able to see that VM here. All right. So you just observe one thing. What is a migration lifecycle? It's not ready. And you see the next step. So, based on this next step also, you can do the activities. So what is the current state? What is the next step? The internet step, so you can view that also. So now click on source server name and it gives properties about this migration job. So migration lifecycle is not ready. So first we need to make it ready for testing. Whenever we launched the test instance, it will be in the test in progress. And as per AWS documentation, AWS always recommend us to test for at least 7 days. So if you're satisfied with that testings and all, then you can do the cutover and you can do cutover process complete. All right, you see this replication progress 0% and step-by-step process is going to complete and these all also need to complete. So it's authenticate with the service and it download replication software. It's going to create staging software, staging disks. It attach the disk. All right. So first you need to observe one more thing. Here is a launch settings. So whenever you are launching any instance, for example, now this is a instance coming from Mumbai and I'm going to launch it in Sydney region. Whatever instance launching in Sydney region, that is going to come up with this C5 large. So if you don't want to go with that C5 large, you need to modify this template. All right, just observe this is a template ID and we have a launch template actually. How we can see that launch template? Go to EC2, navigate to EC2. In left pane, we have a launch templates. All right. So just observe there is a template available here. This is what the template. So this template is going to give C5 large. So that C5 large is obviously will cost us, right? So I'm going to create a revision for this. Click on modify template. And instead of this, I'm going with all the default options, but instead of C5 large, I'm going with T2 micro. Right, then click on create template revision. And even if you want to get connected to this instance and all, you can give a key pair, you can create a key pair and you can give it create template version. A new version is created, but you see the existing one stored as a default. So the version 2 is now delivering C5 hours, that is a default, but I want to make this third one as a default. Go to actions, set default version, select the third version here, then set as a default version. All right. So now just give a refresh in this page and default version is changed to 3 and that should reflect here in our environment also in application migration server environment also. So this process also is completing. We need to wait till this is into start data transfer. We should get in simple all the green tick marks, the last one also. Now, if you go to replication settings and if you uh, observe the replication server instance type is T3 and launch settings and it is a T2 micro. So even the in between the intermediate instance also, if you want to change it to T2 micro, you do have an option here. Click on edit, go and change this to T2 micro. But as I mentioned earlier, I want to make this process bit faster. So that's the reason I'm doing it. Alright, you see this, all green tick marks completed. Now, when you click on this migration dashboard, it is the replication progress. So it's in 16% now. The replication type is agent based. So my root volume size is 8 gigs. So 1.26 gigs already migrated. So we just need to wait for some time to complete that. So what is the next action? You see the status here. Wait for initial sync to complete. The initial sync is here. This initial sync need to complete. Once that is completed, so then we can test. We can go with the testing phase. Once you satisfied with all the testing phases, you can go for cutover phase. All right. Let me give refresh. It's 33% completed. Yeah, I will pause this video here. Once this is completed, I will start recording again. Right. So finally, the process completed. You see here, initial replication finished. So it took a lot of time. So you know what happens in backend, whatever the instance we want to migrate to this specific Sydney region, that instance EBS volumes are going to create a launchable snapshot. So we are going to get a launchable snapshot. Right. So the next step is launch test instance. You just observe one thing. How many instances we have in Sydney region? Currently only one. So now the next phase is launch test instance. For that, click on test and cutover. The first option is launch test instance. You see this? This is a testing options. This is a cutover options. So these options like click on launch test instances. So it is going to launch one instance. Now, as I told you, we have only one instance now. Just click on launch. Now, immediately one job is going to create. And you observe the next actions. The test is in progress. And there is a job created. You click on the job, it will tell you the status. So job started taking snapshot, right? So When you navigate to the source servers, again, when you click here, you can come back to the screen again. So now the test is in progress, launch status waiting. Let's go to instances, give a refresh. You see this, we are getting a new EC2 instance, and that EC2 instance is conversion server. The existing one is replication server. Now, currently one conversion server is launching, and that is M4 large. So however, if you want to modify, we can modify that. So or AWS fix based on our requirement automatically, or that's a default template, right? So it's launched, and it is going to launch another EC2 instance just in couple of minutes. So launch status is waiting. Again, we need to wait for some time to get that another EC2 instance. Right, so when coming to these, test and cutover. So first we need to test. So if you satisfied with the testing, you can click on mark as a ready for cutover. So then only you can do the cutover. AWS strongly recommend us to go with the testing first, then only we need to go with the cutover. So if somehow, for some reasons, you are not satisfied with the testing, you want to test it again, then you can select this option, revert to ready for testing. All right. So similar applicable for cutover phases also. And you want to terminate all the launched instances for this job, the last option, terminate launched instances. So it's going to terminate. So now let's go to instances screen, give a refresh. Okay, we still have just two, and launch status, it is waiting. And launch settings, okay, it's went with C5 large again. It should not happen. Modify. Okay, we already marked it as the default C5 large. I'll go with the T3 medium. However, I don't want to make these changes take effect now. So default version is 4. So what happened? We have created default version 3, right? So basically AWS overridden that with C5 large. So basically AWS have capability to modify based on the load, what exactly instance we're migrating. AWS have that capabilities. So that's the reason I have created with T2 micro. AWS assume that is very, very less for the migration and all. So then they have created one with C5 large. Okay. Along with this launch template, we do have another launch template here. So this launch template is for account level template, and instant type, it's picking automatically by AWS. Right, so let's go to migration dashboard, launch status, it is still waiting. So yeah, you see here one new instance is launching here. And once the conversion process completed, this instance got terminated, M4 large got terminated. So basically, it just helped us to convert that existing snapshot to an EC2 instance and all. And this EC2 instance is now creating. So again, it's created with C5 large, as I mentioned, just because of AWS thing. And also, we are not getting any public IP address. But we need a public IP address to test this, right? So let's go to launch template and just modify it. At least we will enable public IP address. So for that, just scroll down, expand advanced network settings, RTOS and public IP, enable this and create template revision, and let's go here, actions, modify, so set default version. So our default version is going to be 7 now. I'm going to select the 7 and set as a default. We should have do this sometime back. Okay, so now as we changed it, we need to test it again. All right, so the test is still in progress. So as I explained sometime back, if you're not satisfied, you can go here, revert to ready for testing. So then you can test it again. So we'll see. Hope this goes as we expected. All right. So finally, the launch status is now completed. And here you see the status also changed to launched, complete testing. And once you complete testing, mark as ready for cutover. So here is the instance it created, but the thing is we have modified the launch template after test initiation. So that EC2 instance is launched without public IP address. So now if you want to test this, you have two options. One is again, you can go here, you can revert to ready for testing, you can run the test again. So just for time being, I'll give a try this elastic IP option, whether it works or not. Allocate elastic IP address. Why? Because the testing is going to take a lot of time. So that is the reason I'm just giving a try for this option. If it works, I can save a lot of time. If this option is not working, obviously I need to go and I need to like need to do the testing again. All right, so now let's copy this public IP and also verify the security group. It is associated with the default security group. So default security group, it's a kind of loopback security group. If I want to test output of this server, the web page, this is my Mumbai web server output, right? So similar way, we should get output for this migrated server also. So let me create a security group here. Basically, this is a brand new region. I haven't used it much. That's the reason I selected Sydney. So my web server SG, I'm going to give same as a description, and I'm going to open SSH and HTTP for anywhere IPv4, then create security group. So let's go back to instances, select the instance, actions, security, change security group, remove the default one, my web server SG, add security group and save. All right, we're done with the security group part also. Let's grab this instance elastic IP address, paste that here. All right, you see that is working as expected. So the only mistake I did some time back is I have not enabled this public IP option as a yes in our launch template. Okay, so this is a new instance we launched in Sydney with all the settings just like a Mumbai region 1. So now, once we done with this testing, we are satisfied with the testing, we got whatever web page we really required, we got the required web services. So now click here, mark as ready for cutover. So now what happened? Whatever instance launched, you would like to terminate the instance launched for this testing. So if this option is selected, yes, it's going to test, it's going to terminate that. So then click on continue. That is what the recommended setting from AWS. Click on continue. And now again, a job is going to create. So launch cutover instance, ready for cutover. So once that is completed, you can click on this launch cutover instance. But you just need to wait for a minute or two. Okay, this is shutting down. So basically this instance should be terminated. Whenever it is not in terminated state, whenever you click on launch cutover instance, when you click on launch, it might throw an error. So now the cutover process is in progress. Again, launch status is waiting. So again, we are going to get our final EC2 instance. Okay, you just need to wait for some time. The launch status is waiting. This is a test job. This is a cutover job. Okay, let's wait till the cutover job initiates. Once this cutover is in progress, so once you satisfied with the output of the EC2 instance, so then you can finalize the cutover. So then, like, you can start using this machine. So that is the end-to-end process of this migration. Again, this is taking some time. Let's pause it again. All right, so finally the launch status is launched of a cutover instance. So now we need to finalize the cutover. That's what going to be our next step. So, but before that, let's go to instances and let's just give a refresh. You see here, this is an EC2 instance. We're going to use, just grab that public IP address, test it. It should deliver our web page, or you can get connected to it. You can verify the status. Okay, let's get connected as a EC2 iPhone user. Then connect, and you can verify whether the service is up and running or not. Or you just need to take care about security group. I forgot to modify that again. Right, so it is with the default security group now. Let's go to action, security, change security group. So it picks default security group. Right, add security groups, then save. Then it allows to get connect now, and also it gives the output. Right, just wait for a second. Click on connect. Ah, yeah. What are the ports it's opened with? I just wonder. Okay, it is opened with 22 and 80. All right, you see here, this output is coming, and also we are able to get connected to it without any difficulty. So you can verify the status, service, HTTPD status. You can see the service is up and running. So this instance technically is now migrated from Mumbai region to here. Just to double confirm, like you see this Mumbai region instance, but technically it is in Sydney now. With the help of Application Migration Service or MGN, AWS MGN service, we did this migration. As a final step, you go here, you click on finalize cutover. So when you did this finalize cutover, the intermediate resources will terminate, right? So now mark as archived once that is completed. Okay, so that is the process. So cutover completed, data replication status is now disconnected. Okay, so I hope you found this video informative, and I'm going to make some more videos on this migration in our coming sessions. Like probably I'm going to do a video on database migration service. So if you want to get all the latest updates on Amazon Web Services or more videos on AWS, so please subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching this video.